What is Ramadan really like from the inside? Not the rules, not the theology, but the actual lived experience of a month that over 1 billion people describe as the most meaningful time of their entire year. Most people looking in from outside see restriction. What Muslims describe from inside is something almost the opposite. The first few days are genuinely hard. There is no point pretending otherwise. The body is adjusting. If you are used to coffee, the headache arrives on schedule. The hunger is real. The thirst, especially in a long summer fast that can stretch past 18 hours, is very real. Anyone who describes Ramadan as easy is either being dishonest or has been doing it long enough that their body adapted completely. For most people, especially in the first few days, there is a real physical cost. But something shifts around day 4 or 5 that is genuinely difficult to explain to someone who has never experienced it. The hunger stops dominating the day. You notice other things, a heightened awareness of small things. The smell of food becomes almost beautiful rather than frustrating. Colors seem a little sharper. The mind, released from its constant preoccupation with meals and snacks, becomes quieter and clearer in a way that ordinary life rarely allows. Many people describe this shift as the moment Ramadan actually begins, when the physical challenge stops being the main event and something else takes its place. The structure of the day changes completely. It organizes itself around two fixed points: suhoor, the pre dawn meal, and iftar, the meal that breaks the fast at sunset. Between them, nothing. No snacking, no coffee breaks, no eating through boredom or habit. For people who normally eat without much thought throughout the day, this forced awareness of the relationship between hunger and food, when they eat, why they eat, how much they actually need, is described as genuinely eye opening. What almost nobody tells you before experiencing Ramadan for the first time is how much of ordinary eating was never actually about hunger. The habitual mid morning coffee, the biscuit with the afternoon tea, the handful of something while passing through the kitchen. When all of that disappears completely for a month, you realize how much of daily food consumption was never about need at all. This awareness, once experienced, tends to outlast Ramadan itself. The fasting also extends beyond food. Lying, gossiping, losing one's temper unnecessarily. The Prophet specifically said these behaviors could nullify the spiritual benefit of the fast, even if the physical fast remained intact. This means that for a serious observer of Ramadan, the month is a complete recalibration of behavior, not just an absence of eating. Many Muslims describe noticing during Ramadan just how often they are tempted to speak carelessly, to snap at someone, to engage in the small negativities of ordinary life. The fast makes all of it more visible precisely because you are paying attention. Tell me in the comments, have you ever fasted for any reason, religious or not? What did you notice about yourself? The nights of Ramadan are where the month truly lives, and this is the part that almost never gets explained to people outside the Muslim world. The days are about restraint, the nights are the release. After iftar, the breaking of the fast at sunset, traditionally starting with a date and water following the Prophet's practice, the mood changes completely. Families gather, tables fill, the specific foods associated with Ramadan in each culture make their appearance. Harira soup in Morocco, samosas across South Asia, katayef pastries in the Arab world, dates in every Muslim household everywhere. The first bite after a long day without food is described by virtually everyone who has experienced it as one of the most genuinely satisfying moments imaginable, not because the food is extraordinary, but because the waiting made it so. Then, after the evening prayer, many Muslims go to the mosque for Taraweeh, extended night prayers performed only during Ramadan. These prayers involve long recitations of the Quran with the goal of completing the entire text across the month's nightly sessions. Mosques that are quiet for most of the year fill to capacity every night in Ramadan. People who rarely pray together come, the communal dimension of the month becomes visceral and real. Hundreds of people standing, bowing, prostrating in unison night after night for a full month. This is the thing that surprises people who experience Ramadan for the first time from outside. The nights are not grim or solemn, they are joyful. Mosques are loud with conversation before and after the prayers. Children run around. Neighbors bring food to each other's doors. The shared experience of hunger creates a solidarity that is very difficult to manufacture any other way. You do not need to explain to your neighbor that you were tired today. They know. They were tired too. You went through the same thing. That shared experience builds something real between people that comfortable, ordinary life rarely creates. Within the nights, there is a specific window that the entire second half of Ramadan builds toward the last 10 nights. And within them, Laylat al Qadr, the night of power. The Quran describes this single night as more valuable than 1,000 months, roughly 83 years, more than an entire human lifetime. Muslims who are serious about the month intensify everything in these final days: less sleep, more prayer, more Quran recitation, more supplication. The sense that something significant is available in these particular hours that will not be available again for another year creates an atmosphere of urgency and focus that is unlike anything else in the Islamic calendar. What is remarkable about this specific window is the combination of collective effort and personal intimacy. Thousands of people in a mosque together, each one privately asking for something only they and God know about. Leave a comment and tell me, does any of this match what you imagined Ramadan was like from the outside? The part of Ramadan that is almost impossible to communicate to someone who has not experienced it is this: Muslims miss it when it ends, not performatively, not as a social convention, genuinely. There are people who cry on the last night of Ramadan, people who describe the quiet of the first morning after Eid when they wake up and realize they can eat breakfast and the month is over with something that sounds distinctly like grief. This seems paradoxical to outsiders. A month of deprivation is ending, and people are sad. What they are missing is not the hunger. They are missing the structure, the rhythm of a day organized around something other than productivity and consumption, the nightly community in the mosque, the heightened attention that fasting creates, the sense of being part of something larger. 1 billion people across the entire world in every time zone doing the same thing at the same time, governed by the same moon. In a world that fragments people constantly, Ramadan creates a unity of experience that very little else achieves. Ramadan ends with Eid al-Fitr, the festival of breaking the fast, special morning prayers, new clothes for children, food in abundance, shared generously with family and neighbors, and a specific charitable obligation, Zakat al-Fitr, given before the Eid prayers, ensuring that every person in the community, including the poorest, has enough to celebrate properly. The month that began with shared hunger ends with shared generosity by deliberate design. This sequencing is not accidental. The experience of hunger is meant to produce empathy, and the obligation of giving at the end is the empathy being converted into action. What Ramadan ultimately does to people, what it is designed to do according to the Quranic verse that introduces the obligation, is produce taqwa, a sustained, heightened God consciousness that ordinary, comfortable life tends to erode over time. The month is an annual enforced return to attentiveness, to mindfulness about consumption, behavior, gratitude, and the relationship between the self and God. The fact that so many people describe genuinely missing it when it ends is perhaps the strongest evidence that, whatever its difficulty, it gives people something they were not able to find any other way. There is one more dimension worth naming. Ramadan is the month the Quran was first revealed, and the Quran describes this directly, saying that the month of Ramadan is the one in which the Quran was sent down as guidance for humanity. This means the fasting and the scripture are theologically linked at their origin. The month of hunger is also the month of the book. Many Muslims who would not normally read much Quran throughout the year commit to reading or listening to the entire text during Ramadan, connecting their physical self discipline directly to the spiritual nourishment the text is meant to provide. The body experiences scarcity. The soul is asked to drink deeply at the same time. Check the link in the description for a book on Ramadan that goes deep into the complete experience. Subscribe, a new truth every single day on this channel. I'm Noor. This is Islam with Noor. Thank you for listening.